Good morning, students. Yesterday we were doing chapter 4, the enemy, and I will send the whole chapter in different parts. Be careful and read them part wise. And we left the story when both Hannah and Dr. Sadao were looking after the American who was lying unconscious on the bank of the ocean. As the person was injured, Hannah was concerned that the man was injured and said in a low voice that he was bleeding. The fog had thickly covered them. The three of them could not be seen by anyone. Moreover, the fishermen and the rag pickers did not visit the place at that time of the day. As it had become a foggy day, fishermen had thought that the day was over. Sadao answered to himself and said that the best thing was to put the man back into the ocean. As the bleeding stopped, he stood up and cleaned dust from his hands. Hannah supported his opinion but looked intently at the man as he lay still. Sadao said that if they gave him shelter, they would be arrested for sheltering an enemy. All Americans were their enemies. If they handed him over to the Japanese army as a prisoner, then he would die in the prison. As he thought that both the options were not favorable, so the best option was to put him back into the sea. Hannah added that the kindest act for them was to put him back into the ocean. Both of them did not move ahead to do so. Rather, they stared at the motionless figure with disliking. They disliked him because he was an enemy. He was an American. Hannah was inquisitive as she asked about the man's identity. She was interested to know about his identification, and Sadao replied that he appeared to be an American. He picked up the torn cap and read the words written on it, which were slightly visible, and he said that the man was a sailor from an American warship and read out the words U.S. Navy written on the cap. They concluded that the man had been taken into captivity during the war. Sadao and Hannah discussed that the man had tried to escape from the prison and had been shot in the back. They were not able to gather the courage to throw him into the ocean. Hannah called upon Sadao with a firm decision. She asked him if he was ready to put him into the sea. Sadao told her that he was able to do so and asked that did Hannah have the courage for it. Hannah replied in negative and added that that if he could do it by himself, then he had to help him. Then only she could help him. Sadao was reluctant, means unwilling, in throwing the man into sea. He argued that if the man was well, he would hand him over to the police without any hesitation. He added that he was not concerned about the man and considered him to be an enemy as he was an American. He commented that the injured man was a common man as his face looked as if he was a foolish person. He wanted to say that he was not bothered about the injured man, but his only concern was that he was injured badly. Hannah said that if he could not throw him into the ocean, then the second option was to carry him home. Sadao was concerned that the servants would object as they would shelter an enemy. Hannah said that they would tell them that they wished to hand him over to the police once he recovered. She told him that they must do that. She added that they must consider their children's future and Sadao's status. If they did not hand over a prisoner of war to the police, they would be in danger. Sadao replied that certainly he would do so, and he did not think of doing anything else. Sadao and Hannah lifted the injured man into the house. He was very light. The writer compares his weight to that of a hen that has not been fed for a long time, and its body loses flesh and reduces into mere feathers and skeleton. The man's arms were hanging, and both of them carried him up the steps into the side door of the house. The door opened into a corridor, and they went down the passage towards an empty room. This bedroom belonged to Sadau's father and had not been used after his death. The injured man was laid on the thick mat on the floor. The author describes the room. Everything in the room was Japanese. As Sadau's father disliked foreign things, Hannah went to the cupboard in the wall and took a soft quilt. She resisted putting it on the injured man. The quilt was made of silk. It had flowery print on it, and the lining was made of pure white silk. She was sad and spoke slowly that the man was very dirty, and Sadau said that the man had to be washed first of all. Sadau asked Hannah to get hot water so that he could wash the man. Hannah did not want that Sadau should touch the man. She said that they would ask the servants to wash the injured man. She would call Yumi. Yumi is the governess of their children, and she would leave attending the children for a few minutes and wash him. Sadau thought for a moment and then agreed with Hannah. He asked her to call Yumi while he would call the other servants. There were 3 servants in the house, 1 cook, 1 gardener, and 1 governess of children. Before he could go out, he saw the injured man's face. It was so pale that doctor stopped. He bent forward and felt his heartbeat to see whether he was surviving or he had passed away. The heartbeat was very slow, but it was there. Then Sadau placed his hand on the man's heart to feel it. It was beating. He felt the pulse of the man, and it was also there but very slow. Sadau concluded that thus the injured man was alive. Sadau commented that if the man was not operated upon, he would die for sure. He added that even if he was operated upon and saved, he would die at the hands of the Japanese army, so either way he would die. Hannah screamed. She shouted with fear and asked Sadau not to save the man. She feared that if he lived, they would be in danger. Sadau questioned that what would be the implications if the man died. He looked down towards the injured man and surprised that he had a lot of energy which had kept him alive through such torture. He countered his thought with the fact that the man was very young. He seemed to be only 25 years of age, and at that age people do have a lot of energy. Hannah asked him that did he mean the man could die during the operation? Sadau confirmed her question. Yes, it may be. Hannah was thinking over this possibility as she was taking time to reply, and Sadau left. He said that something had to be done with the injured man irrespective of its result. The first thing was to wash him, to clean him. As he walked out of the door, Hannah followed him. She did not want to remain in the room alone with the white man. Since she had left America, he was the first white man she had seen. She had no contact with the Americans whom she had met, as they were her enemies. This injured man was also an enemy and was a threat to them. Hannah turned to the children's room and called out Yumi. As the children heard her voice, she went inside, smiled at them, and played with her 3-month-old child. As she held the baby, who had soft silk hair, she made a gesture with her mouth to Yumi, asking her to come. Yumi replied that the baby was ready for sleep and that she must put it to sleep before accompanying her. Hannah held the baby and went to the bedroom next to the nursery with Yumi. Yumi spread the sleeping quilts on the floor and laid the baby between them. Hannah led the way as they walked fast towards the kitchen. The two servants in the kitchen were scared after hearing their master's words regarding the injured man. The old gardener, who also worked as a servant, was thinking over the news and pulling the air from his upper lips. The old gardener spoke plainly to Hannah. He said that Sadao must not treat the injured white man. He reasoned that the man was destined to die. Firstly, he had been wounded by a gunshot, and secondly, the rocks of the sea wounded him. Further, if Sadao cured the wounds given by the gun and the sea, then gun and the sea would treat them as enemies and seek revenge. They would take revenge from Dr. Sadao. The gun represents the Japanese army and the sea represents the country of Japan. If they treated the enemy, they would be punished by Japan. Hannah politely said to the gardener that she would pass his message to Sadao. She was frightened, though not superstitious like the old man. She thought that helping an enemy could never be good for them. Still, she asked Yumi to get hot water into the room where the injured man was kept. Hannah went inside first and moved the partition to one side. Sadao was not there. Yumi followed her and kept the wooden bucket on the floor. As she saw the white man, her thick lips folded and the expression on her face indicated her determination. She said firmly that she had never washed an American man and that she would never wash one who was as dirty as that injured man. Hannah reacted to Yumi's refusal. She screamed, she shouted at her that she was supposed to follow her master's orders. Yumi opposed strongly. Her dull face had a dangerous look of protest which scared Hannah. She was worried that if the servants reported something different from what had happened, they could put themselves into a big trouble. Hannah changed her expression to respect and said, "Very well." She explained to Yumi that they wished to bring the unconscious man into senses and that they would hand him over to the police. Yumi said that she was not concerned about their plans. She added that she was a poor person and it was not her business to know about their plans. Hannah said to Yumi that she should return to her work then, and Yumi left the room at once. Hannah was left alone once again with the white man. She would have been afraid to remain there all alone, but her anger on Yumi's determination made her stay in the room. Hannah said with anger that Yumi was a stupid person. She said that it was just an injured man. Students, the next part I will send in next video. Go through these pages on your own. Each and every word I have explained. Thank you.